When I was 5 years old, my neighbor had a party for her son. It was a cowboy party. It was all boys. That made my mother mad. And so she dressed me up in full regalia and sent me over, and where all the boys then pulled out their toy guns and chased me around saying, "Kill the squaw, kill the squaw." That was the first time that I realized that I was different and to behave.
I grew up in an all-white neighborhood, and when I was about the same age or a little older, a little girl across the street had a friend over in the front yard who was African American to play, and I had never seen a black child. So I went home and asked my mother, who I loved very much, what that was all about. And what she said to me was, "That's what's wrong with these Jewish people. They're always bringing black people in the places they don't belong." I knew in my heart she was just wrong.
And when I was 7 years old, I got bused from a black community out to a white community. It was probably a very traumatic, one of the most traumatic moments for me. And I had to deal with racism, being chased, called all different type of racist names and terms, and it really stuck with me for most of my adult life. These are the conversations, the deep conversations that we want to have within Moses. And this is one of the reasons why I am part of Moses and connected to Moses. Moses is a local organization and affiliate of the statewide organization Wisdom, with a mission to inspire and empower interfaith communities and like-minded individuals to create greater social justice in Wisconsin, beginning with the problem of mass incarceration. The Dane County Jail and the Wisconsin prison system are well known for their racial disparities. What we know is the country was founded on racism, from the genocide of indigenous people to the slavery of African, indigenous, Chinese, and other people of color to build this nation. Racism was woven into the very fabric of all of our institutions and societal norms. Over 200 years, these ideas and practices were ingrained into our very beings. This makes it especially important that Moses analyze how racism impacts our own organization and our individual members, so we can ensure that as we address the racial disparities in the criminal justice system, we are also working in an anti-racist organization. To ensure the culture of our organization is welcoming to all races and ethnicities, we have committed ourselves to education. This will begin with circle discussions among the board, staff, and members. In these circles, people will be encouraged to talk about racism, white privilege, power, and accountability. This will allow people of color the safe space and opportunities to understand and dismantle internalized racial oppression, while allowing white people to understand and dismantle white privilege. Book lists, reading, and discussions will also be implemented for further education. Crossroads Anti-Racism Training was chosen by Moses because his mission is to dismantle systemic racism and build anti-racist multicultural diversity within institutions and communities, which is implemented primarily by training institutional transformational teams. Of course, individuals make up institutions, and so it is important that each learn the continual impact of racism on him and herself. People in the USA have been enculturated in racialized institutions, neighborhoods, schools, cities, government, businesses, media, criminal justice systems, and so on. Since racism is systemic, Moses will be a force for anti-racism both for individuals and for institutions, including our own organization. In October, Moses will send 5 members to Milwaukee. They would then form an anti-racism transformational team that would continually work with Moses memberships with continued guidance from Crossroads. Thus, Moses will be an agent that not only advocates for people in our jail and prison system, but also includes anti-racism in everyday actions and practices. We also chose Crossroads as it recognizes that resistance to racism also requires resistance to all other forms of social inequality and oppression. We will consistently keep anti-racism at the heart of all we do, enhancing the culture of our organization. Since racial iniquities lie at the core of every issue Moses works to change, to change, the change must begin with us. In the words of Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world.